If you decide it's impossible from that rigid stance of just not going to bother, don't talk to me about it, I don't care, nothing's ever going to change, you have cut off the possibility of it happening. You have shifted the odds not in your favor. You have made the odds far greater, far more challenging that you will have what you want. You have made it impossible. Hey friends, welcome to the Make It Inevitable podcast. I am your host, Stephanie Zamora, and today I want to have a conversation about a very important question to ask yourself. Is it impossible, or have you just not figured out how to do it yet? Now, I want to preface this conversation with two really important points. The first being that this is not going to be some rah-rah, you can do it, just believe in yourself, just think positive. No, that is not a conversation that I will have anyways. But that is not what this conversation is about. And second, this conversation is not going to feel invalidating to those of you who are locked into incredibly challenging circumstances or blocked by certain systems or lacking real tangible resources to create what it is that you want. That is not what this episode is about. This episode is about holding what it is that we're going towards differently, even in the face of circumstances that are insanely difficult and challenging. And this episode is going to come out after one of the first expanded interviews that we're releasing with Vincent Cabasso. And he is an incredible example of this. So please, if you did not listen to that episode, I cannot recommend it highly enough. He shared so much of his struggles, where he came from, the resources that he lacked, the risks that he took, all of that. It's a beautiful model of this conversation that we're going to have today. So we will link to that in the show notes. This conversation is about acknowledging that most things are possible. If your dream, your big impossible dream, is to homestead on Mars, right now, that's not possible. Does that mean that it's wholly impossible? Probably in our lifetime, but maybe not. But there actually is no path right now. Like, that's a big stretch. You're going to have to become an astronaut. You're going to have to be part of helping missions get to Mars, let alone building structures there where humans can survive. And you can actually have a plot of Mars land that you could grow food on. So I'm using that as a big example of there are some things that are much, much further out of reach and may even be impossible right now based on where we are as a species, where we are with technology, all of those things. So it is true that there are some things right now that are not possible. Many of them we may never experience as possible as humans. Some of them we just haven't figured it out yet. And that goes hand in hand with this conversation. Now, there are other things that we will classify as impossible because of our circumstances, because of our lack of resources, because of direct opposition or obstacles or systems that hinder our ability, especially certain individuals, to show up fully expressed, to go after what it is they want. Lack of resources is a big one. Not having time or money, not having a support system, not having the education or the tools or the things that you need. Those are real, tangible obstacles. So again, this conversation is not to invalidate that. There are people of privilege. There are people who have different circumstances, who have more resources, who will look at other people and they will say things like, just get up an hour earlier. That's all you need to do. Stop spending money on coffee or whatever you waste money on. Because they're in a different situation and they don't understand that you might be really, truly doing everything that you can right now. You might be getting 4 hours of sleep. There is no hour to wake up earlier. You're already not getting enough. And you wake up after 4 hours of sleep and you have 2 mouths to feed. And you have enough money to get them food or to get groceries or gas, not both. So you have to figure that out. You're stretching your money to get yourself to your 3 jobs that you have to work every day and feed your children. And you have no family, no support system. You're in a place where everybody is awful and nobody is available to help, or everybody is also in the same situation and they simply do not have the means, the time, the space, the energy, the resources, whatever it is to support you. So your circumstances might be this collection of extremes where there is no not buying a latte at Starbucks because you're already barely getting enough food to feed yourself and your family. There is no waking up an hour earlier because you're already getting not enough sleep and it's affecting your health. And you are working hard. You're applying to different jobs. You're doing or have done all the things that you can think of to try to change your circumstances, and you're still blocked. You're still stuck. You're still struggling. So, again, this is for those of you in that place. This is not a person of privilege, me who has no children, who is resourced, who has a business and has flexibility, who lives on family property. All of these things, I have support system, I have resources, I have time and space. I have been able to, thankfully, with the support of others, create a situation in my life where I have extra funds to put towards other things. So this is not me sitting from a place of privilege saying any of that to you. Just try harder. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Get up an hour earlier. Stop buying your lattes. Think more positively. What I'm here to say today is that even in those circumstances that are so unbelievably challenging that you cannot imagine anything being able to be different, what's important is that we hold the truth that what you want is not impossible. It's very easy, again, to say that when we look at our circumstances. When we're at the bottom of our bottom, when we have $3 in our bank account, an empty gas tank, and kids who are hungry and nothing in the fridge. It's impossible that things will ever change. It's impossible to think that I could ever go back to school and get the education that I need to get a job to get us out of this, to find 15 minutes in the day to meditate, 15 minutes in the day to work on my own business or something else, or to even take the time to look for jobs to apply to that are different, to have the energy and the time and the space to go out and to find people who can help care for my kids, find people, food bank, places where I can get more food so that I can use my money on gas. These are real obstacles, and it's very easy when we're in those situations to say it's impossible. And this matters so much. I made an episode, we'll link to this in the show notes, that's about words. How using words differently is what expands our reality. And it's not necessarily that words themselves are bad, it's the energy behind them. So I do not believe that every single thing that we say, it's hard, it's challenging, I'm stressed, this is going to be difficult, whatever it might be. I don't believe that it's the words that are bad. It's the energy behind them. In this case, what does impossible mean? It means it cannot be done. Is that true? Because when we hold the energy behind the statement and the belief that it's impossible, we orient differently. It's off the table. I just don't think about it. I just don't try anymore. Especially if I've done everything else in the past and I'm still in this situation. It's impossible. It's impossible. And people might come to us with solutions that are annoying and not thought out and privileged, or don't truly understand the circumstances, or things we've already tried, and that just fuels it. It's impossible. Nobody gets it. And the importance for us in those moments is to hold the truth that it's not impossible. We just haven't found a way forward. We just haven't figured out how to do it. We just don't know what we could do differently. And this is an energetics conversation. And as always, to me, this is very scientific. This is very grounded in reality, the reality of human existence. Everything is energy. Energy is everything, including us. Decision is a frequency that changes how we move. We've talked about this a lot on the show. Holding something as wholly impossible is a much different energy than holding it as I haven't figured it out yet. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. Everything I have tried has not worked. I have not found a solution yet. I have not come across the resources or support yet. I have not figured out the path out of this yet. This is not about fluffy mantras, toxic positivity, spiritual bypassing of saying the mantras of it's all coming to me. I believe I'm so powerful. The universe has my back. This works for certain people in certain situations. So I'm not poo-pooing it for everything. When we're in those really challenging, difficult circumstances, all those do is give our brain something to be like, no, and here's why. No one's coming to save you. Here's why. Look at all these people who abandoned you. Look at how alone you are right now. You have no help at all. Or I'm calling in all the money and resources that I need to make this happen. Your brain's going to go, no, look at this bill we just got and how much harder finances are now. No one's coming for you. No money's coming. It's all going out. Our brains will combat that. We have to be able to speak to our subconscious in a way that it can accept it. And the truth is almost always, unless your big impossible dream is colonizing Mars in the next 5 years, it's not impossible. We just haven't figured it out yet. We just haven't found a path forward. And this is not only for the most challenging circumstances. There are a lot of things where we think it can't be done. No one's done it. People have tried, they failed. It's impossible. Someone just hasn't done it yet. It just hasn't been figured out yet. The right circumstances and resources and conditions have not come together yet. And Roger Bannister is a popular example of this. He set the 4-minute mile. And before he did that, it was believed that humans could not run that fast. And then he did. And within the first year, within the first several years, more and more people hit that record and exceeded it, pushed past it. So before it happened, it was never impossible. It just had not been done yet. Flying just had not been done yet. Maybe there is a way for us to fly with our arms. We just haven't figured it out yet. And that might not be our arms, that might be equipment that humans can wear to where we can start flying around. The difference is in our energetics and how we hold ourselves, because when we say that something is impossible, I have tried and done everything, nobody gets it, nobody understands my situation, there is no way out of this, there is no path forward. What is that energy? Think about a time where you're in that place. What does that feel like somatically in your body? Closed off, wall, tension. Not even going to entertain it. Don't even talk to me about it. I'm not interested. Resistance. We're fighting against. We're pushing away. We're not open. We're not receptive. Think about a time in your life where something was challenging. You're learning something for the first time. And you held the energy of, ugh, this is hard. I'm not sure how to do this. I haven't figured it out yet. Even if you're not active in that pursuit of figuring it out, you hold yourself, your whole being, within yourself and in relationship to the thing differently. You are more able to see the possibilities and pathways that maybe you just haven't come across yet, or you haven't had to bump into that wall in that challenging circumstance and that block enough times for it to finally click and go, oh, holy cow, I never thought about doing it that way, or just turning around and walking the other way. What's over there? What if I just flip how I'm doing everything? What if I just stop for a little while and I sit with it? What if I trust that it will come to me? What if I ask completely different people? How could I do that? We don't see the information in front of us. And that could be on your ride to work, your bus ride to work, because you can't afford to put gas in your car and feed your kids. You see something that makes something click. You see a billboard. You actually have a conversation with somebody else. And maybe they're annoyingly positive about how you could do this, rah, rah, yay, yay, but they say something that lands differently. And it sets the wheels in motion. All of this becomes accessible to us when we are open and receptive to it. When we hold what is hard and difficult and seemingly impossible, as I have not figured it out yet. I just don't know how to do it yet. Even in the most difficult circumstances where you have tried everything that you can think of, everything that people have suggested to you, you cut your 4 hours of sleep to 3. Now you have a whole new batch of issues to deal with because you're getting sick, you're getting worn out, you're burned out, you're tired, you're forgetting things. You're having to leave work in the middle of the day to take your kids something at school that you should have remembered to give to them. So you've tried all the things. Even then, you can always honor and acknowledge your emotions. This is hard. This is frustrating. I'm disappointed. I'm angry. I'm sad. Hopelessness is here. Devastation is here. Defeat is here. And you let yourself feel the raw energy of those emotions without the story that, see, I never should have tried. This is how my life is always meant to be. People like me never XYZ. My mom was right. My abusive ex was right. Whatever it might be, those are stories. We feel our raw emotions. We let the energy move out of our bodies, out of our cells, because if we don't, we're storing that. And that's going to make it even harder the next time we hit a wall, the next time we get frustrated, the next time we get a no and we get defeated and we take 2 steps forward and 8 steps back. So we feel it in real time. Feeling our feelings about this stuff is not bad or wrong. It's essential to making the impossible happen. We will link to the episode on emotions. Build a relationship to your emotion. Learn to let them flow and be there. Cry on the bus if you have to. That's the only window of time when you go to the bathroom at your third job that you can scream into some pillow or something. Do what you do to move your emotions. You feel them, you honor them. They're real, they're valid, they're healthy, they're normal. And you still hold. I have not figured this out yet. So if you've tried everything that you can think of that's been suggested to you, that's been annoyingly hammered into your brain, and still you have not made a dent, you have not even inched your way forward, can you hold it? Still, they haven't figured it out yet. Haven't found the right support yet. They don't have the resources yet. I don't know how yet. It's not been done by anyone else yet. That is a different energetic frequency. We hold ourselves. Physiologically, our body is different in relation to the thing we're trying to do. Because when we wall it off, we say it's impossible, we're giving up, screw this, I've tried, whatever. We're rigid, we're resistant, we are not open, we are not receptive. And it could take time, even in the open and receptive state. This is not a woo-woo magical thinking show. This is about making the process of making the impossible inevitable tangible for you, because it is an actual lived process. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, hold your energy different and it will come. That's the problem. You're not holding your energy right. You're not thinking about it right. That's not what I'm saying. I'm inviting you to honor the truth that it's not yet. I haven't figured it out yet. And just in doing that, that will shift your relationship to it. That will shift your ability to see different pathways and possibilities. That doesn't mean that they'll fall from the sky. So it's patience and persistence. It's continually tapping in and tuning into and staying plugged into the truth. I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know how to do it yet. Everything I have tried has not worked yet. That doesn't mean keep trying something that's truly not aligned and not working for you. It doesn't mean don't be frustrated that it's not working, that you haven't figured it out yet, that your life is still what it is when you want it to be something even slightly different. Feel your feelings. Honor the truth. Discern what's right and wrong for you. For some people, waking up an hour earlier makes all the difference. And for others, it just makes you more tired. What's right for you and your life and your circumstances and what you're trying to create? Can you hold all of that with, not yet? I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know how to do it yet. Everything I have tried has not worked yet. I have not found the support and resources yet. I haven't found the solution yet. You hold it differently. Because when we decide that something is impossible, we are cutting it off. To decide is to cut off possibilities, routes, pathways, options. If you decide it's impossible from that rigid stance of just not going to bother, don't talk to me about it, I don't care, nothing's ever going to change, you have cut off the possibility of it happening. You have shifted the odds not in your favor. You have made the odds far greater, far more challenging that you will have what you want. You have made it impossible. And again, I want to speak to that part that is like, you just don't understand my situation. You just don't understand how hard it is. I probably don't. I am not invalidating that. I have been in situations where I had $5 in my bank account and no money coming from anywhere. Didn't have the support of the resources that I need. Didn't have the time, was too sick, whatever it was. Still might be far less challenging than your circumstances. So I'm not sitting here trying to tell you, you're just not getting it. You're just not being positive enough. You're just not trying hard enough. You just haven't done everything you possibly can to make it happen. You may have done everything you possibly can and it still hasn't happened. What I'm inviting you to hold is that it's not impossible just because you haven't found a way to it yet. And just holding that can be a difficult practice on its own. Because again, this isn't magical. If you hold it just right, you get your energy just right, and you're thinking just right, and your mindset just right, it will just boom, there it is. We become more aligned with what it is that we want. We shift the odds in our favor by holding it as not yet versus impossible. All of this is true. We can collapse timelines, we can accelerate them to a point, and we'll also link to the episode on everything in its right time. Everything has a gestation period. The pathway for you having what you want out of your circumstances may not be available yet. It might be available in a year or 3. And if you have cut off, it is not possible and I will never think about it again, I give up, you won't see that. You won't have the desire or the ability to choose it and try it and to keep navigating your way through. And there are some situations that are unbelievably frustrating and exhausting because you keep trying and it just wears you out. So you have to rest, you have to take breaks, you have to take care of yourself. There are certain periods where we do nothing towards what it is that we want except hold that it is possible, that there just isn't a path we found yet, that we just haven't figured it out yet, that we just don't have the resources yet. Sometimes that is all that we do for periods of time, weeks, months, years, until something clicks, until something shifts, until something or someone shows up, until something is figured out somewhere else where instead of holding it as impossible, they keep trying to work on it. That could be a cure for an illness that you're struggling with. It could be a technological solution that would change your life or your business. Those people are working on it now. You might have to wait for the pathway or the possibility, but if you close it off, you're not going to see it. You're not going to try it. You've decided that it's a no. You made it impossible. Everything else made it extremely difficult, hard, damaging, harmful, all of the things that it is. Those are all true. But if you decide that it's just impossible, you made that so. And that's even for the big, grand visions that we have. Humans are amazing. Technology is amazing. Who knows what we could do in the next 5 years? The only way to know is to try, to hold it as maybe we just haven't figured it out yet. Maybe we just don't know how yet. Maybe we've just been thinking about this all wrong. Maybe we just need to wait 7 years instead of 5 for these people over here to figure out their stuff, for this to change over there. We have to hold it with an openness. That's on us. And there are times that this is so unbelievably difficult that it in and of itself feels impossible. It is not. So just notice where you're walling something off. And all I am inviting you to do today is to just hold it as possible. Can you just hold it? As I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't found the resources or support yet. Haven't seen the path. The possibilities aren't available yet. Can you just hold that while you honor your emotions, your feelings about what you're going through and where you're at? Can you do both? If you're struggling with this, if you need support or resources, please check the show notes, and I will be back soon with another episode.